Okay, well, big welcome to everyone. And can everyone see the presentation? You can give a thumbs up reaction, or if you have your camera on, I see thumbs too. That's really nice. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our International Student webinar. Yeah, we have this for you today just to give you an idea of what to expect when you arrive to Nyenrode in the Netherlands. We'll talk about a lot of different topics. And right now I'll also introduce you to what kind of day we're going to have today. So my name is Claire, and I am the exchange officer for the BSCBA program. So I see actually quite a lot of exchange students here. I know all of your names. But then we also have students joining, I think, from the master's program or full-time BSCBA students. We have quite a few people from different programs. We'll be talking about three main things. So living in the Netherlands, practicalities, which is a lot of good information. And then also the Nyenrode campus and student life. So mostly I will be giving you quite a lot of advice. It's going to be a ton of information all at once, but like I said, we'll record it. And later this week, this presentation will also be on our website for you to reference. There's quite a lot of links that are useful. So we're going to kind of get through it as quickly as possible because there's a lot. And we will also have some current students here. You see Joep and Floris are here to tell you a bit more about campus life and student association. And for you, good to know everyone is muted already, which is really nice. Thank you very much for that. Cameras are of course optional, but it's really nice for me to see some faces, and I already see some. So whatever you're comfortable with. And yeah, like I said, we have a ton of information to get through. I don't want to keep you here past the hour that we have. So I'd ask if you can please save your questions till the end. It's probable that I will answer them at some point during the presentation, but if not, you're welcome to write them in the chat, or you can always wait until the end and ask it over audio and or camera. So with that, let's begin. So we have here you can see a really nice picture actually of the castle on our campus, but let's talk about living in the Netherlands first. So just to start out, I'm not going to do all the work. You have to do a little bit. Tell me in the chat, when you think of the Netherlands, what do you think of? Anything? Tulips? Maybe? The happiest country. That's very nice. Joep and Floris, do you think yes, no, happiest country? Maybe, yeah. Cycling, bikes. Sorry, what was that, Joep?
I think on the index it's the 5th or 6th place.
Yeah, exactly. I think 5th the last time I checked. Yeah. Yeah, cycling, bikes, the canals, definitely. Rain, yeah, it does rain here quite a lot, but you also have quite a lot of sunny days, I would say. So bring a raincoat, but you will get to enjoy some nice sunny days too. So, yeah, I already heard bikes and canals. Windmills, no one said windmills. Maybe you don't remember, but I definitely think of windmills. Yeah, and here we have Amsterdam, nice canals, very, very beautiful city. So, okay, now it's my turn. You've done some work, now it's my turn. So, just quickly, studying and living in the Netherlands, you've already chosen to do so, but I thought I would just tell you a few things about studying and living here. There are a lot of international people in the Netherlands, especially tons and tons of international students. So that's not only at Nyenrode, we have a group of international students, but everywhere you go to every university in the Netherlands, it's a very, very big group of students too. So there's lots of very interesting people to meet wherever you go. And when you do meet people, you can speak English. So the stat right now is that 95% of Dutch people speak English. And I would say most are fluent in English as well. So if you're ever really need some help or you're really not sure, you can walk up to people on the street and speak to them in English. And it's very useful being an international person here. And yeah, like we said, It's a very safe and happy country, top 20 most peaceful countries in the world. So I would say safety is not really a big concern in the Netherlands, but yeah, just use your common sense, of course, what you're used to at home, I would say. So that's really nice. Great place to study and live. Maybe Joep and Floris will laugh a little at this since they're Dutch, but these are my tips as an expatriate, someone coming from the US and living in the Netherlands. I have a few tips for you about navigating the Dutch culture. So the Dutch people are very direct. They're very honest with you and they really value being honest. But as an international person, sometimes it seems a little rude because when they think something, they will tell you that straight away. And sometimes we come from cultures where you have to go around the subject a little bit, or it's better to be polite than to say what you think. But here in the Netherlands, you can say exactly what you think, and no one minds, and you might have to get used to other people doing that too. So good to keep in mind. Yeah, the Dutch are pretty punctual, I would say. There's some cultures where if someone gives you a time, yeah, maybe you don't need to show up exactly then, but especially if you have an appointment or a class or something, you are expected to be on time to that, or maybe even a few minutes early, especially for your classes. The Dutch culture is quite individualistic, and I don't have an exact example of this, but if you're from a culture where things are a bit more collective, it's more community based, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you might run into a few cultural differences. And I would say the Dutch people are also very, very open-minded. You might know it's quite a progressive country when it comes to equality and diversity. It might be different where you're from, but it might not. But you do have quite a lot of rights here living in the Netherlands for no discrimination or the right to your own body. And Dutch people do take that quite seriously, or the ones that I've met. So it's a really nice thing and something that might be different from where you're from. And I've noticed that meal times can be something between cultures that it doesn't necessarily match up. So I thought I would just tell you on a regular work or school day, of course, you would eat a little breakfast, usually bread and cheese before work or school. Lunch is around noon, the middle of the day, which again is bread and cheese a lot of the time, or just sandwiches. And then dinner is usually around 6 o'clock, which is quite early for some internationals. So it's good to keep in mind that this is about when other people will want to be having dinner if you're hanging out with Dutch people. And my last tip for navigating Dutch culture is to learn some Dutch. So most people here will speak completely fluent English, which is really nice, but I think it is greatly appreciated if you can learn at least just a few words. So learn how to say hello, please, thank you, things like that. And people here will really appreciate that you've put in some effort to learn a little bit of their language. So Duolingo, Google, however you want to do it, but I do recommend that before you arrive, and even while you're here, you can pick up some Dutch. So another practical thing is when you move to another country, you're used to knowing, oh, I will go to this store to buy vegetables or this store to buy toothpaste. Well, when you move somewhere new, you might not know what stores there are and where to buy something. So if you want to buy groceries in the Netherlands, you have a lot of choice, but I would say I took a poll with the Dutch people I know. Albert Heijn in the bottom left corner is probably the most popular supermarket here. And there is one in Brooklyn and a million of them in Amsterdam. There's also Jumbo, the one above that, is also yeah, a very highly used grocery store. And the rest are also good grocery stores, but there's not quite as many of them and they're not as popular. And where to buy toiletries and basic medicine, so like basic painkillers or something like that. Atos and Kruidvat are everywhere in the Netherlands and they'll have everything you need. So shampoo, toothpaste, yeah, like I said, painkillers, sunscreen, anything like that you can find in these stores. And then for anything else you could want, there's also a few stores. Bol.com is an online store where you can order almost everything. Action is a very cheap store, so it's really nice for students, and they also have like everything you could ever need. And then Hema as well has a lot of like really nice, office supplies, and they also have a lot of random home things too, maybe a little more cute. And those are really good stores as well to have in mind if you need something when you arrive here. Okay, I will spend quite a few minutes now talking about public transportation because you will definitely be using it quite a lot while you're here. And of course, it varies a lot country to country. So yeah, you might not necessarily use it the same way here as you do at your home. So really good to know is that the trains and the other types of transportation are separate. So they're run by separate countries. They're technically owned by the government, but they'll have different ticket machines, a lot of the times different tickets. It will vary by city as well. But I would say that everything is still pretty easy to use. So you can see at the top, you have the trains, which you can just call NS. You don't have to say the whole Dutch word, very hard to pronounce. And to the right, you can see those ticket machines in yellow and blue. And then there are also buses, metros, and trams in the Netherlands, but each city, like I said, has a different company. So in Amsterdam, it's called the GVB or GVB. And then in Utrecht, there's quite a lot of different companies, but I know there's one called U-Link. There's other ones for the regional buses, but everything is very well connected, and you can use all of it on one app, as I will show you right after this. So, apps to download before you come. 9292 is the one that's most recommended. It uses the trains, the buses, different cities, all of that. And it's usually very accurate. It can give you live information. Google Maps is also possible. You might already have that and prefer it, and it is usually quite accurate. I use it too sometimes. And for the trains, if you think you'll be taking the trains more often or you want to travel a bit on the weekends, I also recommend downloading the NS app for the trains. And then, for example, you can also download the Amsterdam Transit app. Sometimes it's good if there's like some things going on with the buses and you're not sure, and it's usually pretty updated. So it's really good to look into these apps. But if you only download one, I would recommend 9292. The way that you use your tickets on the public transport here is you have to check in when you go into the train or metro or anything, and you check out when you leave. And in this way, you're charged basically for how long of a journey that you do. So in the first picture, you see a guy holding up his phone with his debit card to a little kiosk. So that's how you check in and out of the trams and the buses. In the middle and the right, you can see that there are kind of these poles where you check in and out. And sometimes it can be hard to remember to do that, but make sure you look out for them. But otherwise, at most major train stations, you have a gate that opens and closes. So you'll remember definitely to check in and out. And the picture on the right where you see one pole, which is yellow, and one which is gray, this is where you transfer from a train to a metro. And like I said, they're different companies. So if you're on the train, you have to check out of the train and then check into the metro, which sounds like a lot, but you will get very used to it. And it's just something to look out for because you can get charged extra if you forget to check in and check out. So for tickets, you have a lot of different ways that you can buy tickets. You can always do it at a machine or any of those apps that I showed you. You can also buy a ticket directly on the app. We will talk in a second about what an OV chip card is, really useful. Sometimes there are also operators on the bus and tram where you can buy it from them, but I know in Amsterdam they're trying to get rid of that now. They haven't quite, but they're trying to, so good to maybe buy the ticket before you get on, just in case. And now they are trying something new called OV Pay, which you check in and out with your debit or credit card. So that's very new. Floris is giving a thumbs up. He likes it, I think. So that's really nice. And I know that MasterCard and Visa foreign cards, the website says that you can use those. So that's maybe really nice and a bit more flexible, so you don't have to be buying tickets the whole time. So I already mentioned an OVE chip card, but what is that? They are reloadable transit cards that we highly recommend because they're valid throughout the Netherlands. So it doesn't matter if you're using a train or a bus in Amsterdam or a bus in Utrecht or anything like that, you can use this card, which is really, really handy. It is cheaper in the end than buying single tickets. You do have to pay for the card. It's $7.50 for the first time. But after that, it's very worth your money to get a card. And one of the ways that you can use this is you basically preload money onto the card, and you have to have a minimum amount to check in and out. For the trains, it's 20 euros minimum because they can get quite pricey. But yeah, that's really easy. So you just use whatever money you have on your card. Your card also has a number. So if you're curious, you can always look at your travel history online. And I've just put here the link, which you can use later to check out a little bit more about the chip cards. But if you notice, there's two different cards in the picture that I have. There's a yellow and a blue. So you do have different kinds of cards. And the yellow is your personal card, which you have to apply for online. And why would you go to the trouble of that? Well, you can get some subscriptions and discounts and things like that on your card. But you can also apply for Flex, which basically means you check in and out all month, and then at the end of the month you get a bill. So that can be quite handy if you're using it a lot and you don't want to have to keep track of how much you have on your card. And you would apply online and you have it shipped to your Dutch address. So maybe on campus, maybe in Amsterdam. But good to know is they will also ask for a picture of yourself. So only you can use it. And if they control the tickets on the train and someone else is using it, they will not like that very much. So don't use someone else's yellow chip card. The blue chip card is anonymous, so anyone can use it. Your face won't be on it. You have to manually top up the money that's on it, so you need to make sure you have that minimum to be able to check in. But these are much easier to come by. You don't have to apply for one online. You can just buy them at some ticket machines, or there's other sales locations like in train stations and places like that. So highly recommend the OVE chip card. It's a really easy way to get around the Netherlands. And I think that's what most people use now. So. And of course, bikes. It's the Netherlands. I mean, we have to talk about it. You have quite a lot of rentals that you can do, or you can also buy a bike. I'll tell you about just a few of them. At OVE Fiets, and OVE is the public transportation. You can rent bikes for the day through the train company, basically, and they are available at train stations. But good to know you do need that yellow chip card, and you have to have a certain item that you add onto the card. But it's definitely a really good price. The website right now says it's only €4.45 for 24 hours. But make sure that you pick it up and take it back to the same place, because it's an extra €10 if you take it to a different place at the end. If you want a longer term rental, a lot of people use swap fiets. Fiets is the word for bike, so swap bike, I suppose, in English. They also have like e-bike rentals and such. The only thing is you have to pick them up in a certain place, so you can do that in Amsterdam or Utrecht. But if you're interested, you can check their website. But then, of course, most people here just have a secondhand bike. So there's tons of bike shops, there's markets, especially in the bigger cities. So if you have a Nyenrode buddy, like your Dutch buddy, or when you get here, you know, a Dutch student, you can always ask them, hey, where do you get your bike? or where do you recommend that I get a bike? So, and then just a tip, because I have heard that this is frightening sometimes for new people in the Netherlands. Every first Monday of the month at exactly 12 o'clock noon, they test the national emergency system. So you will hear these really scary sirens and you will get like a notification on your phone. Don't freak out. It's normal. They have to test it every month just to make sure everything is working. So when you hear the sirens, everything is okay, as long as it's the first Monday of every month at noon. So, alrighty. Well, that is all I have to say about living in the Netherlands, but I also have quite a lot of practicalities for you as an international student arriving to the Netherlands. So this information we have, or I've checked the website, but of course, sometimes they can change things. Please check the website, which I will link, if you want to know all of the information or see all of the options. So I think most of you, but not all, because I see some EU students had to do an immigration procedure. Your admissions person or program management should be in contact with you about your situation, and they will be getting the letters from the immigration office. So I will just quickly touch on the things that you need to do when you arrive. But if you have any specific questions, please do reach out to your admissions or program management person. Some of you will need an MVV, which is just the entry visa. So that's how you get past the passport control. You know who you are at this point, I hope. But like I said, reach out to your admissions person if you're not sure. So you will pick up your MVV entry visa at the Dutch consulate or embassy in your home country. Make sure you bring all of the documents listed in the letter where they approved it. And you do need this entry visa to enter the Netherlands. You cannot enter just with a letter saying it's okay, or with your passport and just telling them you're a student. If you're from the country that needs the MVV, you must have it in your passport to enter. But you can also use it to enter other countries in Europe. It's called the Schengen zone, and it's most EU countries, but make sure to check a list online before you make any travel plans. So you can use this entry visa to get into the Schengen zone. For example, you want to fly into Germany, Frankfurt, that's fine. It's from another country in this zone, so they won't care. For students that don't need the MVV entry visa, yeah, you can travel to the Netherlands just on your passport. So once you have the approval letter saying you will get a residency, then you can travel to the Netherlands, and you will have to give your biometrics once you arrive in the Netherlands. So that's your a photo and your fingerprints and your signature. So then you also have to pick up your visa. It will be a little card like your credit card size. You will have to make an appointment to pick up your visa, and they will notify us when it's ready, but they say it's usually about 3 weeks after you take the biometrics. So the people that get the entry visa, you do that already in your home country at the embassy. For the people that don't need the MVV, you do your fingerprints here, and then it's about 3 weeks after that. Make sure that you pick up this card, though. It's really important because it's how you identify yourself in the Netherlands. So, for example, if the police want to identify you, you do need to make sure that you have this with you so you can prove that you can stay in the Netherlands. But that's about all I have to say about this today. But like I said, for all of the personal situations, please contact your admissions or program management person, and they will be able to help you a bit more. Some students have to do a tuberculosis test when they come to the Netherlands, and honestly, most nationalities are exempted, but there are some other nationalities that have to do it. For example, India, Vietnam, Pakistan. I don't have all of them in my head, but your admissions person should be able to tell you whether you need the test or not. / you probably should already know. So it's mandatory to do this test within 3 months of your arrival in the Netherlands, and you will have to make an appointment and go to the like the regional health center, I suppose, and you will bring the tuberculosis test form, which your admissions person will give you. You also need your passport to identify yourself. But they will fill it out and send it to the immigration office, and then they will kind of check it off the list. And they will notify us if you don't do it. So it's really, really important that you do this, because you could be in danger of losing your study permit if you don't do the test in time. So lots of information, but basically if you're a Brooklyn student, you can go to the health center in Utrecht. They have walk-in appointments. And then if you're in Amsterdam, you make an appointment online with them. And all of the information also is on their websites. So like I said, this will be on the website later. So if you want to look into it further, you'll have all the links later. So one other thing you have to do when you arrive in the Netherlands is register at the municipality. Another word for this is town hall. And in Dutch, it's called the gemeente. So that's your municipality or town hall. It's mandatory for all people living in the Netherlands for more than 4 months to register with the town hall. So that means that basically all of you do need to register at the town hall. And this is how you will get your BSN, or your citizen number. Sometimes they call it social security number. And this number is really important for a lot of services that you use, for opening a bank account, for all of that. So this is a really important thing that you should do when you arrive. You can make an appointment online or via the phone, but it depends on which municipality you need to go to. And that depends on where your address is. Which I will show you on the next slide, all of the different municipalities that some of you may need to register with. But do keep in mind that it varies per municipality which documents they need, but all of it will be on their website. So, I mean, all of them will require your passport or your European ID. You need to show them that you are allowed to be in the Netherlands. So you need to bring something that you have from the immigration office. Proof of residency, so that will be your rental contract. If you are living off campus and you have a different kind of situation, I would look on the website of the municipality, because they have a few other options other than just the rental contract. Some municipalities like Amsterdam want you to have proof of enrollment at Nyenrode, so that can be your student card, or if you're worried, I'm sure that your program management can also give you an official letter to say you're enrolled with us. And then as well, you will probably need your birth certificate. And really good to know, they will only take foreign documents in English, Dutch, German, or French, or you need to have it translated and legalized. So birth certificate is always a good thing to have with you if you go abroad. So if you haven't already looked into it, I would really recommend you look into getting a copy of your birth certificate and translating it. And also really important to bring printed copies of all of these documents. Sometimes they keep some of them and sometimes they don't keep them. It kind of depends on the person and the municipality, but always good to be really prepared and bring copies of everything. So like I said, I have here all of the links and addresses. So if you are staying on the Brooklyn campus, we have like a collective municipality called the Stichtsevecht, which I maybe said wrong. And then Amsterdam, there's a ton of locations where you can register. And then if you're staying in the Our Campus Diemen is kind of surrounded by Amsterdam, but it's technically a different municipality. So you do need to register in Diemen and not in Amsterdam. So if you have any questions regarding that with your rental contract, you're not sure where you are, you can always ask your program management. One other online service we have here in the Netherlands is your DigiD, or your DigiD, I guess in English. Kind of weird to say in English. But it's basically how you identify yourself online, and you do need that citizen number from the municipality. You can log into a lot of government online services, especially if you have student loans, you will really need to make a DigiD. And in order to do it, you do need your residence permit and you need your citizen number, but it's really easy to apply for. You just do it online, and they will send you something in the mail so that you can confirm your account. So good to look into that as well. But again, you first need that citizen number. So first things first, register yourself at the municipality. Health insurance as well is mandatory or compulsory in the Netherlands. Everyone needs to be insured. But as an international student, you don't have to take out the Dutch state insurance. You only need to do that if you are like a longer term resident or if you're working as well. For EU students, you can look into the European Health Insurance Card, and please ask your insurance company or the national health system in your home country. For non-EU students, please check what is already covered by your private insurance. You can contact your insurance company and they'll be able to tell you more. If not, and if you're here for a longer time, we also recommend the AON student insurance. It's a really good service for students and a lot of people have used it before. And like I said, if you are working part-time though, you do have to have the Dutch public health insurance. So if you have a job, be sure that you look into this and don't get caught without health insurance. There's also a lot of information online. I've put one of the links here if you need to look into it a little bit more. Okay, and another tip, register with a doctor. Yeah, so a GP, general practitioner, is called huisarts in Dutch. And it is really important to register with a doctor because if you're sick, it's faster to get help this way. If you're not registered with someone, you might have to shop around a bit, see who's available. It can take a little bit longer. And before you go to the hospital, in most cases, you do actually have to call your doctor's office first to have them refer you to the hospital, and then you go. Not if it's life-threatening, of course. And honestly, this was a bit different for me moving to the Netherlands, but it's just really good to know, just register with a doctor. I have a few examples here of places that you can look, but also if you just go on Google Maps and you Google huisarts, so doctor, that's a good way to find another doctor's office. And we also recommend the same thing with dentist. So if you need to see a dentist while you're here, it's always easier to be registered first with a dentist, and especially if you have a dental emergency, you break a tooth or something. Okay, and on this topic of maybe emergencies, hopefully you never need to know this, but really good to know the national emergency number is 112. Probably different than in your home country, but there's also a non-emergency police number. So if it's not like life-threatening, there's just a disturbance or something, there's also a non-emergency number. For medical emergencies, of course, if it's an emergency and you need an ambulance or something, call 112. But if it's non-life-threatening, you do need to call your doctor first before you go to the hospital. Good to know also that there's something called a huisartsenpost, and they're open outside of normal office hours. So if you need to go to the hospital, it's not life-threatening or something, you can still call the huisartsenpost to get help in the evenings or the weekends or something. And then I also put here some Nyenrode security numbers. So we do have 24/7 security on the Brokelen campus. They also have an emergency number, and they ask you to please call them first if you're not sure if a situation is life-threatening, because they're highly trained in first aid and they can assess the situation. But if it's really bad, like someone's, not breathing or it's truly life-threatening, then of course call 112 and then call the security. They can get there faster to help you however is needed. But of course, hopefully you never have to use these numbers, but really good to save them in your phone, write them down somewhere important. Okay, banking in the Netherlands is really nice as well. And it's really, you should open a Dutch bank account when you arrive, once you have kind of everything sorted that you need to. Usually you will need your citizen number, so that BSN, but some banks do allow you to open the account first and then give them your citizen number later, which is really nice as well. I have here just a few suggestions. Bunk is only online banking, so there's no actual stores, and it's used in other countries as well. It's not just Dutch. Maybe that's a good option for you. But also ABN AMRO and ING have free student accounts. So if you can prove you're a student, there's no fees for the account. Bunk does have fees because it's just for anyone. So we really recommend, I know our students in the past have used ABN AMRO before. So I suppose if I had to recommend one, I'd recommend that. There are a lot of other banks, of course, but I don't think that they have English information. So unless you really want to learn some Dutch banking words, I would go with one that has English for you. A lot of banks now do everything online, so you can apply for the account only online, which is great. Some of them might ask you to come in for an appointment, but they will usually need definitely your passport or ID. They'll probably also want to see your residency visa, so your study visa. They will usually want your rental contract as well for your address. Of course, the BSN number, like I said. And then in case of a student account, they also want to see proof of enrollment in a university. And I have a few tips about banking. Right when you arrive, maybe you won't have a bank account yet or something. So I really recommend now, before you come, looking into a credit card like Visa or MasterCard, just in case you have some costs at first and you need to pull some money out or something. Visa and MasterCard you can use in a lot of different places. Certain stores might only take Dutch bank cards, and I think this is slowly changing. But for example, Albert Heijn, the grocery store, in the past, you could only use Dutch bank cards. If there was a checkout that's not self-service, you could also use cash, but it's good to know sometimes you might run into this. And you can see Tikkie there in the purple is really, really popular to use here in the Netherlands. It's basically making quick payments between bank accounts. So if you go out to dinner with someone, maybe you go out to dinner with a Dutch friend and you pay for everything, they'll say, oh, send me a Tikkie. And it's this really nice app where you can just quickly request the money. You put in your thumbprint or face ID or something a few times and it's super quick. You should probably download Tikkie once you get your Dutch bank account. Ideal is also really nice. So when you check out of a store, an online store, for example, you might see that you can use Ideal. And this is also a really easy way to use online payments with your Dutch bank account. You will just, like I said, put in your thumbprint or face ID a few times, and it's very quick with low processing fees. Okay, and then you probably also want a phone. I'm guessing you want to be able to use your phone wherever you are in the Netherlands. So especially for non-EU students, I recommend getting a Dutch SIM card. Of course, if you're in the EU, yeah, there's probably no point to it, especially if you're just here for a semester-long exchange. Of course, you can always check with your phone provider at home about international packages, but they're really expensive usually. But here I've listed some phone providers in the Netherlands. These are the biggest ones. Lebara, I think you will see in all the little kiosks in Amsterdam, so you can stop in quickly and grab a SIM card. And you can always get just a prepaid SIM with preloaded stuff on it. You can also get a mobile contract, which they will lock you in for a year or two, but it's a little bit cheaper. But I would just suggest checking out some of the websites of these phone providers and seeing what they have to offer. Oh, and my little tip in the bottom right corner, just like it's illegal to drive with your phone most places, of course, in the Netherlands, we talk about bikes, and it is also illegal to use your phone while you're biking. So no texting and biking. You might see Dutch people doing it, but no, that's not a good one. You don't want the police to stop you for that. Okay, so I talked a lot about, immigration, all these things, but we haven't talked yet about actually where you're going to be for your studies, and that is either Nyenrode Breukelen or Nyenrode Amsterdam. So I will just give you a few tips about getting to the campuses on public transport, and then we have our two current students here who will tell you a little bit more about the campuses and about the student associations on campus. So we have the Amsterdam campus, which is beautiful. It's in the heart of Amsterdam on the canals. It's a really, really nice city campus. And of course, it's very connected. You will have to walk a little bit, but you can take the metro or mini trams from Central Station to get closer. And then, of course, I put a little thing about housing here, but I think most of you have already figured it out. You can live in our domain, Diemen, which is also super connected via the Diemen-Zuid metro and train connections. We also have the beautiful Breukelen campus, of course, the estate and castle that you see in a lot of the pictures. It is just situated between Amsterdam and Utrecht, but there is a bus station or a train station. You can use a bus from the train station to get directly to campus, or it's about 20-25 minute walk or a 10-minute bike ride if you do have a bike. And of course, we have our housing on campus with tons of facilities like a gym, cafeteria, coffee shop, laundry, student lounge, all of that. You should already probably have your housing arranged or be in contact with our campus department. But if you do have any questions about the housing, I've put the email there at the bottom, which is campus@nyenrode.nl. So Joep and Floris have been super patient sitting through these things that they already know a lot about. So I'm going to give them the floor for a bit. And first, Joep is going to tell us about the NCV in Breukelen.
Yes, Claire, thanks for introducing me. So my name is Joep Toebes. I'm currently a second year bachelor student, and I'm now going to my third year of the International Business Administration study. So this year I'm currently one of the 5 persons within the board of the Student Association, the Nieuwe Compagnie van Verre, as you can see on the screen. So if Claire presses the screen, you can see the About Us page. We have been founded in 1947, so we actually were originated 1 year after Nyenrode was founded. It's a student association in Breukelen, and we have 41 committees, and a committee is a group of people we can join who organizes different things. I will further on elaborate on it, what you can organize. And we have around 300 members, including the exchange students. So now I shortly want to introduce to you all different committees which exist in Breukelen, and after that I will go on to the contact details which are important for you. So first of all, we have the board committees. So this is also the board of the association. On the right you can see me, but there are also 4 or 5 other committees which exist, such as the campus committee board, who organizes everything on campus and make sure that everything runs smoothly. When we go on to the next slide, we have the guardians of the traditions, norms, and values. And I think there are like 10 which fall into this category. But the most important for you are the Zolderbar and the Kelderbar, which you will get to know. So we have the Zolderbar, that's the bar which is open during the weekends. and also especially famous amongst the exchange students and all other international students, since this bar is opened throughout the weekends. So a lot of Dutch students, around 70 to 80%, go home again in the weekends. And a lot of people who stay on campus throughout the weekend go to the Zollerbach. And from Monday till Friday, usually the Kelder bar is opened. So hopefully when you arrive on campus again, the Kelder bar will be opened. I hope so at least. Then we have campus facilitators. The next slide. I'm going through it now quite quickly, but you will receive a booklet with all different committees as well when you arrive on campus, so no worries. Campus facilitators are just committees which organize something for campus. So for example, on this picture, you can see the cook tent, and it's kind of the grocery store on campus. So you can find a lot of practical stuff right there. So like pizzas, chips, when you don't have the opportunity anymore to go to the supermarket. Then we go on to the event committees. And this is actually quite a lot of fun because in the two pictures on the right are Jazz Night. That's the gala on the 11th of November, which you will attend probably. And in the right bottom corner, you can see Tuinfeest, which is a festival at which different famous Dutch artists perform, which takes place on the 2nd of September. So Tuinfeest will actually be one of your first parties, real parties in the Netherlands. And on the left, you can see Dies Natalis. That's next year again, and that's a boxing gala. Furthermore, we have business committees. So an example of a business committee is the Zilveren Rijder, which owns a student-managed fund, and they organize guest lectures, for example. Then on this picture, you can see Ondernemen Nyenrode, which organizes guest lectures as well, which you can attend. You have the possibility to, but they also host a podcast with famous Dutch entrepreneurs. So for example, last year, the CEO of Heineken has been interviewed, and this year they're interviewing the founder of Amsterdam Vintage Watches and stuff like that. One disclaimer is that the podcast is in Dutch, so maybe we can improve it for next year and host it in English as well. And the last category for the different committees is the sport committees. And as you can see, there is no reason not to stay fit, since we have a lot of sport committees which you can join and which also host trainings. So we have rugby, hockey, football, tennis, golf, rowing, sailing, skiing, and we have a gym which you can make use of most of the time 24/7. So especially rugby, hockey, and football are the biggest committees on campus. And they host a training almost every week. And then we have a tennis field as well, a tennis court as well, which you can use in your free time. And then we're already at the last slide, or one before the last, the contact points, which are important for you to remember. First of all, it's important to note that we're currently busy with a buddy system. So Claire sent out an email about who wants a buddy, and this week we are attaching all campus students with the exchange students. So then you can get in contact with a buddy who helps you with the standard questions. And a group chat will be created with all exchange students who come to Breukelen. So to make sure that you get the standard information from the NCV as well. So we have one of the committees as well, which is one of the 41, which is NUC, the Nyenrode United Committee. And they arrange everything for all international students. So if you have a question regarding practicalities on campus, you can contact Yvette Schuurmans. And once we create the group chat this week, she will introduce herself as well. And when you have any bigger questions, so which go beyond the practicalities, you can contact me. So part of the board of the association, and we have two trust persons on campus as well, which you will get in contact with later, Maxime Hertog and Hidde Keupink. So if you don't feel safe on campus, or there is just anything which you want to talk about, things are not going quite good at home or stuff, and you just want someone else to talk to, you can contact the trust persons. So overall, if we go to the last slide already, campus is a great place to develop yourself, to have fun, to experience the student life. And it's also, according to all students, all international and non-international students, really intensive. Since on campus you eat together, you sleep together, and you go to classes together. So actually, at every moment on every day, you're together. But it's one of the best thing which has overcome me the past years. So I would say enjoy, and we will get in contact with you later on this week. And then I would now like to give the word to Floris.
Thank you. I'm Floris. I'm part of the current master 31 of the Amsterdam of Nyenrode Amsterdam. Thank you for staying in this lecture for so long. I'll keep it brief, as Joep has already explained. A large part of students' life at Nyenrode. Next slide, please. So yeah, Nyenrode Amsterdam, as said by Claire, it's located at the Keizersgracht, in the center of Amsterdam, truly where the beating heart of Amsterdam lies. We offer together with Nyenrode their student housing on the outskirts of Amsterdam, only about 20 minutes by public transport, and also 20 minutes or 15 minutes if you buy quickly. We have our facilities at our campus in Amsterdam. We have a library, we have a business lounge where we do most of our activities. Also have a nice garden where we also host some nice brunches and barbecues. It's a great place to be. Continue, please. Yeah, so what to do in Amsterdam? Our campus is not as elaborate as it is in Breukelen. Therefore, we also go really together to places outside as well. We have a boat event, but we also go out usually after class to Café Hoppe on the left. And at night, we typically would go with our classmates to Jimmy Who Chin Chin Club. So that's probably where you will be in the first couple of weeks in Amsterdam with your buddy. Yes, continue on. So yeah, you will be living in our domains, or you've arranged something else. But the nice thing of our domains that you will be living with international students who are going through a similar experience, who are not just from Nyenrode, but also from the other universities and colleges within Amsterdam. It offers also the benefit that you're really in the financial and business center point of the Netherlands, and accessibility and transport are really well managed. So if you're not confident on your bike, you can take the transport anywhere and you get there nearly as quick most of the time. Yeah, we are really at Nyenrode Amsterdam. We really want to be the step in between for you, between your academic life and also your upcoming business career. That's why we have a few job and internship possibilities with incoming businesses for certain events. And yeah, what can you say about Amsterdam? It's the international city which never sleeps. So thank you. So about our student association, we're quite young. Of course, Breukelen is where it started, and for Nyenrode, and then they opened the second campus in Amsterdam. So we were founded in 2011. We organized business events and fun events. So from a really formal and business-wise setting to also very relaxed, go bowling, go karting, have some sports events. It also helps you build a network here in Amsterdam with fellow students across different disciplines, whether you're doing an MBA or a bachelor or a master's degree. Yeah, we have also collaborations with respected associations for such as the IGC, the Koninklijke Industriële Grote Club, where we have once every quarter or once every 2 months, we have a nice business event with an incoming professional, such as the CTO of Philips Netherlands last time around. So yeah, for us, we have approximate membership of currently 90 members, which is 80% of like all students at Nyenrode Amsterdam. So outside of the board where I'm part of, there are several committees which organize different events and have different responsibilities, either from more relaxed activities to and more fun activities to more career-oriented events, and also sports, because we like to keep fit. Each tailored to what your interest may be and how you further want to develop yourself outside of your studies. Thank you. So yeah, we have, of course, the introduction days. Put in your agendas the 16th to the 18th of August. After that, it will be followed up quickly by quite quickly to the gala in November. And also the rally will be in September already. Ski trip usually in February. And every 5 years, you are invited to the Lustrum, the 5-year anniversary of our magnificent student association. Always welcome to come as a current member, but also in the years after as an alumni. So yeah, as previously said, we have sports events, we have business events, we have investment events. We like to organize case studies, do some workshops with guest speakers, also to get you an idea what the job opportunities are for you as a Nyenrode student in the Dutch labor market. We also like to introduce you to alumni through our events at both in Nyenrode Amsterdam as in at other places like the Koninklijke Industriële Grote Club. So I'll hope to see you there. I believe this was it. Yeah, you can scan our code and go to our Instagram page and you will find out more about us. Please sign up to, yeah. If you like, you can already sign up for the introduction days of JCV by this link.
Great. Thank you so much, Floris. Thank you for sticking with us and telling us more about the JCV and Amsterdam. And
I hope I kept everybody engaged just until the very end. Thank you so much.
I'm sure you did. Thank you. All right. And with that, that is the end of our International Student Pre-Arrival webinar. Thank you so much for coming. Are there any last questions? You can either write them in the chat or you're very welcome to turn on your audio and ask that way too. It was a lot of information, so no worries. It will all be, the PowerPoint will be on our website very soon and the recording as well. No questions? Don't think so. Well, great. Then I was very, very thorough, I guess. And of course, thank you so much for coming. Oh, I have one question. Can we use a Visa debit card instead of a credit card? Yes, I would say sometimes there's something in Dutch banking that's called Maestro or VPay. And those are the times, like in that grocery store I told you about, where you can only use that kind of card, which I think is really only Dutch. But most places Visa is taken. So I would say Visa, you will be okay. But of course, check with the card that you have if you're going to have a lot of foreign transaction fees, or it's going to be expensive to take money out of an ATM if you'd like cash or something. But yeah, Visa and MasterCard generally are very useful. Yeah, Floris said you'll have a 95% success rate with a Visa debit card. Yeah, thanks, Floris. Can students in Breukelen campus join JCW Amsterdam events? Floris, what do you say for that?
Typically, you have plenty of events either in Amsterdam or in Breukelen. Also, with traveling times, it's really hard to find in your schedule as you will be incredibly busy. We will have some events that we can collaborate on in the future, but it will depend on the event, and it will be communicated to you in due time.
Great, thank you, Floris. Yeah, awesome. Any last questions? No? Okay, I will stay on for just a little bit longer in case there's any last questions. But here you can see all of the emails of every program. So whether you're exchange student, full-time MBA, if you want to contact housing, this should be everything you need and more. So thank you so much to everyone for coming today. I hope it was really helpful and you learned a lot more about Nyenrode and coming to the Netherlands. And we're really looking forward to welcoming you to our campus very soon, hopefully. So thank you very much, everyone. You're welcome. Bye, Sunny.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Manon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Floris. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you for the great presentation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope it was very helpful.
It is indeed very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's awesome. You're so welcome.